Firstly, thank you so much, Mr. Moser, for this interaction. Great to be here at the ZF CVS Technology Global Technology Day 2026. We've gone through a lot of the technology that you have on store. We've experienced some of them. We will be experiencing some of them. Can we start off with an update on what is the mood in the global commercial vehicle industry scenario right now? How do you perceive it?
You mean beyond ZF only?
Beyond ZF, the industry.
Let's start with the western part. When I look to North America, we see that due to all the circumstances we have in North America, that the market has gone down. That's clearly visible. So the mood in North America is not very good. Of course, we want to keep our teams motivated over there, and there will be the less you sell right now in terms of trucks, the more it will come, and this is what people are hoping for. When it comes to South America is somehow stable but at a low level. So my expectation from that market would be that there is definitely a higher need for transportation than actual production is. So that's one thing. When it comes to Western Europe, I think we still have a lot of transportation mileages, but the sales of new trucks is not very good. It's different compared to buses for the time being. In Europe, in buses, we have a very good situation in the market. When it comes to India, I'm very proud of what I've seen the last couple of days when I was in India last week. So it's a very good situation in the market, and people are motivated. And so the team is right now. We have even supply problems because of the increase. When it comes to China, we have to differentiate between the domestic market and the export market. The domestic market is relatively weak, I would say. So this is why the overcapacities are used to reinforce the export. So this is a majority. So heterogeneous, but all around the world, we hope that the figures, the production of trucks and buses becomes again higher.
Interesting, right. Talking about the mega trends, right? ACE was there in the past. It's been there for a few years. There's also mentioned that there are different megatrends that are coming. Megatrends are getting interwoven with each other, and it was very interesting to see ZF's focus when we talk about electrification as a megatrend. You have a C-Trax 2 as a solution right now available, and you also have a Traxon 2 for a hybrid application as well. Talk us through what's happening on the powertrain side. Why do you think hybrids are actually more interesting? And ZF is uniquely positioned to offer solutions right from ICE to multiple powertrain solutions as well. How does that matter, and how does that give an edge for you, with the OEMs?
Let me refer a little bit to what has happened to the passenger car market. There were some OEs just relying on electrification. There were some of them saying, no, ICE will be forever. And it's only a couple of OEs who have said we want to be technology open. And that's very important. And whenever you ramp up new technology, you should be aware that the volume ramp up will take some time. And if you split new electrified cars with, then you have, of course, a misbalance, and then the cost for electrified drivelines are higher. Flexibility is not given. So, and when it comes to automated transmissions, we still see a high market demand. There are markets where we still see even an increase for that. We see markets who are wondering how can they match the CO2 targets. Especially in Europe, look at the roads. When it comes to infrastructure, grids, we are not prepared to achieve the CO2 targets by electrified trucks only. And this is why some OEs, and I would say very important OEs, are really wondering whether they should have some kind of a bridging technology with hybrids.
Well, and I guess you're perfectly positioned with the solution that you have on offer.
Definitely. So there were attempts in the past, and we heard this morning that AS Tronic was also available as a hybrid version. But at that point of time, we didn't have such a pressure from legislation point of view. So it was basically only, is it economically feasible or not? In the meantime, the technology coming from electrified solutions like batteries, like inverters and so on, drives, also electric drives, electric central motor have improved a lot. We all know about that. So this technical solution today is much more viable as it was in the past.
Makes sense. Right. Let's talk about global geographies a little. And of course, you mentioned about India, and also when you spoke, you mentioned about India probably being a lone bright spot right now. Can we understand a bit more about you? You handle the Indian market for ZF Group as well. India and China. Are we seeing a changing, global shift economically as well, but more particularly to the commercial vehicle industry, also for the ZF Group? Can you give us an update?
Yeah. Compared to other parts of ZF, when it comes to commercial vehicles, we have, I would say, an excellent footprint over there. And it's not only production for export. We are supplying so many products to the local trucks over there. So that's the starting point is very good. But what I've learned and seen is that due to all the geopolitical happenings we see here right now, people all around the world learned that it's dangerous to rely on external fuels, I would say. And I was really deeply impressed how India now is taking that experience and bringing it to new solutions. So I can clearly feel this pressure for electrification. I've seen many buses, electrified buses. I had a couple of talks with OEs working even on new projects, and this is why I'm very confident that this will not stop anymore. The question is how fast, but it won't stop. When it comes to balancing India and China, of course, there's always a threat that Chinese OEs, caused by their underutilization, will try to enter foreign markets. This is what we see also in Europe, but of course there is also a threat for India if the Chinese come in and having dumping prices and so on. This is a risk, but I think with the way India now has taken, I think they are well prepared. And talking about BIS also, that helps also. The world has learned how dangerous it is to depend on anything, substantially depend on anything which is coming from outside, and which if political leaders change, and then all of a sudden you have a new world economy.
True. Very true. Very true. Right. And I mean, I want to just stay with India. So this is something that we always ask global companies. But in your case, it's a little different. I feel you have a very, very strong footprint in India. And after ZF and WABCO kind of came together, globally, you are number one in terms of the size, in terms of commercial vehicle suppliers. But again, in India, you have a very, very strong presence, right? So moving forward, now we put India and China together as Asia. Do you see a shift, let's say, European markets, Asian market, and probably rest of the world, the Americas? Do you see a shift in terms of your business, in terms of your revenue, let's say by 2030 or even beyond?
Yeah, definitely we see a shift. So the market demands in Europe are expected to remain best case at the same. So on the other hand, we see that there is still in the Asian market OEs, countries need more production of trucks and buses. So we will have a natural shift towards Asia. That's one thing. I always would like to point out that India is not. Many companies think we go to India because India cheap. But that's not the right approach. You should take this advantage, but bring responsibility to the region. It doesn't help just to say, okay, we have an existing product, let's redesign it in India because it's cheap redesign, and then actually copy the product and just source locally. We have to change things. We have to put for some businesses, we have to put the center of gravity into India. Otherwise, and this is what ZF is doing right now.
Yeah.
So not only for commercial vehicles, but also for the rest of the group. And I'm very confident that the mindset change has taken place within ZF.
Brilliant, right?
Yeah.
And I suppose it's also to do with a little bit of mindset change in India as well, right?
Yeah, sure.
For us to actually capitalize and make the most of the opportunity.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. Right. My way of thinking is that we have to drive our business in India out of the region. And not that we in Europe say, okay, we know better what you need and blah, blah, blah. This market has to tell us what kind of products, what technology level, at what cost they need, and where it should be produced in India.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it won't.
Perfect. And I think there is a track record of companies who've done it the right way. They've been successful, and companies who've said we know it all, they've probably found it a very difficult market to crack as well in India, right?
Exactly.
What do you think India should be doing moving forward?
Keep the path you have entered. Actually, there is not a real recommendation to do something in another way. So what I've seen so far, you know better what's happening in India as I do. But what I have seen, I think it's a very good direction you have taken.
Okay. And despite that, there are certain areas and aspects where there is still a significant gap between India and, let's say, more mature and more developed markets. Definitely. What would you think those gaps would be, and how do you think we can actually grow even faster, probably bridge the gap even more?
Yeah. I've seen brilliant infrastructure projects in India where you have wide roads, wide highways, nice surface of the roads. But I still see, of course, different roads. Yeah. And I think if you continue going that way, that step by step building infrastructure, this will considerably have a positive impact on the economical development. Because, what ingredients do you need? Actually, of course, it would be good to have all raw materials in the country. That's one thing. Yeah. Skilled people. And I think we have many skilled people, and then you need infrastructure. Yeah. And if you continue that way, I'm very optimistic. But in countries, in democratic countries, that will take longer. And it's not only for India; it's also for Germany, for other countries around the world. That will take longer than it took place in China, the question is, do we want to have a system like in China, or do you want to have a system like in India or in the democratic world? But it's different, I would say.
Understandable. And zooming out a bit more on the global markets, so many disruptions, right? Starting with geopolitical tensions across the world in multiple regions at the same time, and also industry level disruptions, challenges as well. How does a company like ZF, as big as ZF, plan for the future? And when you do this, what are the main challenges that you see ahead? And on the flip side, what are the main opportunities that you see where you can build your strategy accordingly?
Yeah, we saw all these global disruptions also when it comes to politics. Many years we have been relying on our Western partner, United States. Now we see what's happening on the tariff side. That's somehow not controllable. What we should, with the tariffs, the first reaction would be to localize all the production over there. But if you don't know how the regulation looks tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, then you will do nothing.
Absolutely.
That's one thing. In many markets, in the Indian-German relationship, I think we see how fruitful this is. We should extend that also between Germany and India, and from German government side, we can clearly see that move over there. and yeah, you need to be flexible. You know, a decade ago you said, okay, we take that decision, and the parameters are still the same in a 2 years time. So done deal. Today, actually, it's difficult. So we have to be very agile, and of course, always be aware of the risks, but also see the opportunities we have around the world.
Right. And in terms of targets, in terms of size, you have a significant presence in the market without a doubt. Where do you see new opportunities emerging for you to grow and sort of expand into?
Yeah, one element, of course, is ADAS, and we had substantial business wins, which will come into production in 27, 28. So that's one thing. Second thing is electrification, but limited to, I would say, Indian and China market. In Europe, we still see not a growth in these technologies, but when it comes to size, if you count it by sales by euros, of course, the electrified drivetrains have, including inverter, battery, of course, that they have another sales impact than I would say a simple transmission. So a lot of growth will come from both these areas. But you know, growth is one thing. That's nice. We always will look for additional business over there, but it's not all. Size matters, but you have to be successful in the market, and don't believe that next year we will have 10% more. Let's be prepared from a production point of view, but don't rely on 10% more next year.
Makes sense, right? And also from a company perspective, when we talk about sustainability, profitability, what tweaks do you think are required in a company strategy to actually hit the right way on these fronts as well?
Yeah, profitability is one thing in a situation like ZF, where we still have 10 billion euros of debt. Profitability is a must. That's a given. But in our internal targets, which are the base also for incentives or whatever, we have clear sustainability targets. And otherwise, if you want to be CO2 neutral, then in 2040, you cannot start in 2035. So it needs a long preparation. And when it comes to even up to upstream, we are making good progress so far. Level 1 and 2 is okay. We have managed, and of course, there's always a balance, you know. At the first point of view, if you ask your sub-suppliers to use green energy to produce steel, depending on the country, of course, they will tell you, oh, that's more cost, higher cost. If you ask the customer, okay, if you want that ZF is in good shape regarding sustainability, we need 2% more. And they say, no, we won't give it to you. So I think the entire industry has to understand that sustainability is necessary. In the long run, I don't believe that sustainable products, I don't believe that they will cost more in the long run. If you find the right production of electric energy, like India does it, then and today electric energy coming from wind is already even cheaper than other alternatives. But we have to go that way.
Yeah. Okay. Couple of last questions from my side. We go back to India as the penultimate one. In terms of safety and sustainability, specific to these, where do you think India currently ranks, and what is the way forward?
If I look on the roads, the safety aspect is a little bit critical.
Exactly. It's really
I would say when it comes to sustainability, I see good signals, but due to the size of India, due to the population of India, it's not that easy to say you want to be safe, you want to be sustainable, and then in the 2 years' time you have achieved everything. So the country is too big. But with all I have seen where the government is targeting to, I'm 100% sure that you will make your way.
Yeah, on both fronts as well, right? Good to see that confidence, but I guess people like you are supplying the industry with the right technology. But I think it's also the onus is on the government to come up with the right regulatory framework and execute it and implement it in the right way. Right? probably one last thing on medium to long term. If we look at 2030 as a milestone, and then let's say 2035, how do you see ZF's growth trajectory, over this period of time?
ZF is not working on to have 45 billion euros turnover or 50 or whatever. We could imagine that even 30 billion are okay for us. But what we see with the recent shifts and when it comes to pass car business, we see with the ramp up of electrified products, there are OEs trying to produce this in-house. And I understand this. If the OEs produce today combustion engines, partly they produce their own transmissions. They cannot just say, okay, now I leave everything and I give it to the supplier. So we will see a natural shift from pass car focus into other areas. And one area, of course, is commercial vehicle, and another area is industrial technology, where I'm also responsible for. And for example, rail transmissions, we have got the first order from India for 1,000 transmissions. We will ramp it up in Coimbatore at the beginning and then go to Pune. And wind power, we have got a significant share in the Adani wind park with our wind turbine transmissions. So step by step, and this is a clear target of ZF. It's not saying, okay, let's wait and see how this. It's a clear direction from ZF. Moving away from the 75% dependency of pass car.
Yeah. Brilliant, wonderful. Anything else that you'd like to add that I've not specifically asked you, Mr. Moser?
No, I think we have touched all relevant things, and I will be in India again in October.
Okay.
So maybe we see each other again, and I'm very much looking forward to give an update after my visit.
Brilliant, perfect. Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.